Beekeepers podcast. We're your hosts, Willie and Sass.
Yo!
We are backyard beekeepers here in Melbourne, Australia, with a keen interest in all things bee-related. And today is going to be just sort of a loose bee-related episode. We thought we would catch up with recent times in the bee world.
And we'll try and rapid fire bee news in the past couple of months.
Yeah, and it will be worldwide and also what's been going on with us.
Locally.
Yeah, and I'm sure people have seen a couple of the big stories floating around, but the first thing that we wanted to chat about was the Australian Bee Challenge, which I guess isn't that new, but we just watched it, so we just kind of wanted to weigh in what we thought about the program. What platform is it on?
So it is produced by Catalyst, a show on the ABC, and we didn't catch it live on TV, but we were able to stream it on iView.
Yes, it was in two parts. I think they were about an hour long each. And it's called the Australian Bee Challenge. And basically what they did was they set up 4 families who had no beekeeping experience with a basic starter kit for beekeeping and also instructions on what to do. And then they received mentoring throughout.
They had 2 mentors.
Yeah, and then the challenge or the competition was whoever has the best tasting honey at the end of the season would have the opportunity for their honey to be used by that famous chef.
The fancy chef who has a restaurant at the Opera House.
So overall, I thought it was a very entertaining show, a very, interesting premise. It had a lot of positive aspects to it. It made beekeeping seem very inviting and approachable.
Yeah, I like the fact that they dropped off, some small nuke hives. For those not familiar with terminology, it's kind of like a half box hive, even if it's 4 or 5 frames, depending on which way you are inclined. And some families were just given these packages of bees, which, with lack of better words, is a cardboard box full of bees.
Yeah, and they also had 2 city families and 2 country families. So there would be kind of a variety of different challenges, different environments, etc. And yeah, I thought that was really cool. And they also had a lot of good information throughout the episodes. They were able to touch on many different topics and many different aspects of beekeeping, and I thought it was highly educational.
Yeah, the pacing of the show was quite exceptional because, if we're talking real time, this is something like 4 months worth of beekeeping, which they've condensed into 2 one-hour episodes. So I thought it was great that they highlighted basically they've received the first bees, after the first package of bees, they do the hive inspections, the colony grows, then they get hit with, a variety of problems, say extreme weather, pests and disease, which is, like not often talked about, the lack of food coming in, the requirement to relocate a hive, and, just the issues which just come with routine maintenance and checkups.
Yeah, and the 2 people that they had for the mentors, I thought they were awesome. Like, the 2 people that they had for the mentors was Doug Purdy, and I just looked him up, and he does the Urban Beehive, which is really cool in Sydney. So he's a very experienced and passionate guy. And they also had Dr. Tanya Lati. So she works at the University of Sydney, and she was able to present the information in like a really engaging and interesting way. And she gave a lot of information about the bee behavior.
Their biology?
And their biology, yeah. So yeah, overall, I thought the show was very educational.
Yeah, I really liked her enthusiasm. That was, very infectious, to watch. And it was great to see other people getting excited about the waggle dance.
The waggle dance. Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about that. That was cute.
Yeah, and if you don't know what the waggle dance is, there's a lot of YouTube videos, so I won't explain it. But it's basically how the bees are able to communicate to each other to tell the other bees how to find food or water.
Yes, that was really cool. And then, yeah, so overall, we thought it was very entertaining. We did have a few, I guess,
Nitpicks?
yeah, criticisms. First of all, Willie, you said you weren't happy with the title of the show because it's the Great Australian Bee Challenge.
They were all from New South Wales, but they were in Sydney. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was. They were all from the Central Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I think the furthest north they went was like Byron Bay, right?
It wasn't even, I don't even think it was that far up, but somewhere, on like the mid-north coast.
And in Sydney, so just call it the Bee Challenge.
Yeah.
It's clearly not the Australian Bee
It would
Challenge.
have been cooler if they had spread it, over more ground. It was probably just more practical to just stay in the area, I guess.
Also because the federal government are threatening to cut the ABC's funding, so they're probably too poor to, extend the challenge nationwide.
Yeah, it's true. Also, as this was both a positive and a negative because they did present so much information, but that's because it really felt like, and I know this is just reality TV in a nutshell, but it was quite orchestrated. Like, in reality, having 4 different hives going on at once, would you really have that much variety of issues over one season? Because they all had, like, a lot of different issues and challenges they faced.
But they covered like 95% of the spectrum of the issues and tribulations which comes with beekeeping in those 2 hours.
Yeah, there was somebody, they didn't have enough food and they had to supplement with sugar water.
Swarming.
Yeah, there was swarming. There was somebody had to move their hives. There was just such a variety of issues, and I do understand that for the purposes of the show it made it more interesting, but it did kind of make me feel like it's just not realistic.
It's like, I know you're from the US, so you wouldn't have seen this show, but one day we just need to watch a couple of episodes of Blue Healers, because Mount Thomas, you would think it is the most dangerous town in all of Australia, because
every crime happens.
all of the world's criminals live in Mount Thomas, and that's it
was like a similar thing. There was, pest issues and just, I'm going like, I do think it's great they were able to introduce all these issues so that they could educate people, but I was going, come on. Like, did this really happen like this? Probably not.
And I guess this is more of a philosophical and spiritual thing. I guess my last nitpick is normally whenever you're, I suppose, trying to teach someone beekeeping or introduce beekeeping to them, the first thing you tell them is, okay, this is your first year, use it as a foundation year to learn as much as you can, and just temper your expectations. The likelihood is that you're not going to get any honey harvest. There's not going to be enough of a surplus, and you just want to use your first year as a introductory year just to build up your colony.
Yeah, to get your bearings straight, figure out what you're doing, that kind of thing. And yeah, like you said, establish the colony. But they all
harvested. They all had a harvest.
Except, well, no spoilers, but one of the challengers didn't do as well. That's true.
Yeah, but they all had a harvest though.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was, you know what? Overall, I thought it was a very well put together program. It was interesting. It was educational.
Significantly better than watching the Bee Movie.
Anything's better than that, Willie. I would rather get stung in the face again than watch the movie. So that's our take on the Great Australian Bee Challenge. If you get a chance to watch it, I would recommend it, actually. I thought it was good. It was entertaining. It was edutaining.
Yeah. Exceptional.
So let's move on to a couple
The
of
next
big
item on the agenda.
on the agenda. There have been a couple of big bee stories in the news recently, and I think most people will have heard of at least one of them, and that's probably the one we're going to touch on first. The biggest bee on record known to man has been rediscovered.
Wallace's giant bee.
It was in Indonesia, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. But I will use the scientific name, which by scientific I mean what I found on Wikipedia. The Megachile Pluto.
Yeah, so this is from the National Geographic. The world's largest bee may also be the planet's most elusive. First discovered in 1859 by the prominent scientist Alfred Russel Wallace, nobody could locate it again and it was presumed extinct. So apparently it turned up again in the 80s and then it has turned up again here on 21st of February. This story came out. And if you look up the story, you can see either a photo or I'm looking at a GIF right now of a guy who has the bee in this tube, and it is massive. It's like terrifying. It looks like something from Jurassic Park.
It is huge.
It's huge, yeah.
Huge.
So apparently it uses large mandibles that look like those of a stag beetle to scrape sticky resin off trees and build burrows within termite nests.
It's common in with the leaf cutters, I believe. I believe that's where the so this is it still falls under the Hymenoptera family, which is why it's a bee, but it's a solitary bee.
Yeah, it is solitary, and apparently the guy who found it, he said one of the most notable things about the bee, a female, was the sound of her wings, deep, slow thrum that you could almost feel as well as hear. Yeah, very interesting. If you get a chance, look it up. It is really crazy looking. Like the mandibles are huge. They're just coming out over the side, and it has this. It's a lot more dark than a common honeybee. It's it is quite a sight to behold.
Yeah, it's like some sort of bee beetle fusion.
Yeah, so it's always, especially in these days when you hear about how many species per day of insect and animal go extinct, it is reassuring and cool to see something that was presumed to be extinct to be found again. So
Yeah, and on the other, speaking of rediscovering a bee, these bees weren't rediscovered. These bees were actually discovered for the first time. Researchers from the University of Adelaide have discovered 26 new species of bees.
oh yeah, that's huge.
You can see the full article on the University of Adelaide home website. This came out on the 22nd of January. Basically, a research team went out to the outback and discovered 26 new species of bees. And they've published everything in an open access journal called Zookeys. And I won't go into a big tirade as to why open access journals should be the future and why we should be aiming for them. But definitely, what that means is you don't need a subscription. You can go check it out. Everything's free to read.
Basically, you don't have to pay for information that's actually good quality information.
Yeah, but there's politics involved in it, which is not relevant to this podcast.
Right, but this is, just in a nutshell, this is why people go to BuzzFeed and think that it's a reliable source and that they can just use it as their information. But anyways,
a stapler. No. So this is great for me because typically in Australia, when you think of native bees, the main things which pop to people's mind are those the ones you see in northern New South Wales, Queensland, the stingless bees.
The teeny ones.
Yeah, the teeny.
That have the it's like a circular hive, kind of.
Yeah, they make the comb more like in discs. Which,
it looks really cool.
Which they showed that in the Bee Challenge as well, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
People think of the Australian stingless bees, and then you have some other solitary bees as well, like the blue banded bee, etc., and so forth. But there are quite a few Australian native bee species. I say quite a few because I don't have the number on top of my head. This is something that I'm quite ignorant on, and I wish I knew more about. But on top of that, we have discovered, the University of South Australia has discovered 26 more. One of them is called a silk bee because it naturally produces silk to protect the larvae, which is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued as to how long this field research went on because 26 new species is it's like groundbreaking and huge.
So definitely want to give a shout out to the team, which consists of Remco Leys from the South Australian Museum, Katja Hugendorn from the University of Adelaide, and James Dorey from Flinders University.
Like, where did they find these bees? You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like there's so little of the world that's untapped and undiscovered.
We need to read the paper.
Yeah, we do need to read the paper. I think you sent me a headline for this one, and I haven't looked up enough information about it to, be able to relay anything. Absolutely groundbreaking research, and well done, guys.
And to answer my question from before, I just had to scroll down a little bit more from the press release. There are about 1,650 known species in Australia.
That's insane.
So this is absolutely fantastic, and the postdoc is the corresponding author or communicator for this. So hit up Katja Hugendorn at adelaide.edu.au if you want to know more about these fantastic bees.
I'm sure she's not busy at all. We should just email her. I'm just kidding.
Hey, it's part of the territory.
It's true. So yeah, super cool story. And then moving on, this one is pretty fascinating. We saw that there is this startup in Nigeria which has developed a complete hive technology system for monitoring bees, and it works on several different levels of monitoring, and one of the main aspects of the system that they're marketing is it can pick up the difference in the sound that the hive makes right before they're about
Ooh.
to swarm.
This company is, I believe it's an NGO. It's called Honey Flow Africa.
Yeah, and their website is fantastic. Like, it's really well put together. It seems like they're doing great work in Nigeria because they're saying that Africa consumes 3 times the amount of honey that it produces. So this company is trying to work to make more honey production within Africa to make it, less importing and more local production, which is really, really cool.
Their CEO is a gentleman by the name of, which I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Amayat Umana, and his website's up on Honey. Yeah,
I love his swaggy picture on here with his big blinging watch in the front.
yeah, and
It's awesome.
he's got guns. Look at those biceps.
Yeah, he's buff. But yeah, this is a really cool project. If you check out the website, it's honeyflowafrica.com. And so how it works is you can connect your smart device or laptop to, what is it, BTech Hive Monitor. And it has a couple of different components to monitor the hive, and then it sends the information to your device. So you can keep track of your hive when you're on the go, when you're away, and it's super cool.
I believe a lot of this is proprietary, and probably what a lot of people learn from, say, the Flow Hive is if the information's out there, there's going to be imitators and people who will knock it off and try and sell it for the cheap. So the website is actually a little bit limited, and they just said like this device, which they're calling BTech Hive Monitor, it can do things such as temperature and humidity, which is self-explanatory, weight sensor, which is great, and bee counter sensor, and they don't divulge anything else. But there is another article on CNN where their CEO, Mr. Swag Umana, talks about a device which they've called the Buzzbox, and this is really close to the heart because hanging out in beekeeping groups, we've all spoken about this before, which is, wouldn't it be cool if we had some sort of speaker in the hive which can transmit that sound or record the sound and find anomalies, i.e., if you've been around the beekeeping block a while, the colony can make a weird sound, and well, I shouldn't say weird, but a noticeable sound when they are gearing up to swarm. I'll admit that I don't have the best ear for it, but then I don't have a good ear for many things, such as good taste in music. There.
It's on record now. I'm going to isolate that little sentence and I'm going to use it against you.
Okay, well,
I'm just kidding, I won't.
you can.
No, you've always freely admitted that you like
Stuff.
different music.
Yeah.
That's okay, I still love you.
So, in short, when hives are gearing up to swarm, they make a distinct sound. This device can detect this sound and transmit that information to your smart device. So you could, in theory, try and intervene, and at least try and catch your swarm before it's too late. Which I think is fantastic. It's an excellent initiative. Like, yeah, I'm just bummed that I didn't invent it. But I think thousands of beekeepers have thought it.
We talked about this basically exact same idea well over a year ago.
Yeah.
It's just, we just didn't make it happen.
Well, neither of us are engineers.
Yeah.
And neither of us know any engineers.
Anyways, yeah, good on these guys. If it helps improve, honey production and hive sustainability in Nigeria and worldwide, then it's freaking awesome. I love that they are taking the initiative to have a technology startup that's not only going to be making things convenient for the beekeeper, but hopefully...
Beekeeping is an industry which hasn't undergone a lot of change in the centuries which people have practiced it. When Reverend Langstroth invented the Langstroth hive, that was a great change. That pioneered beekeeping. Then a whole lot of nothing happened. Then they found the smoker. Then a whole lot of nothing happened, and we have the flow hive, which is like an extractor. Yeah. But to actually, we're living in the information age now, and to try and automate your routine hive checks, I think it's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it's cool. I'd love to, see it more in action, see where this startup goes, and yeah, good on them. So.
Last in the news is, hey Sarah, what did we do today?
I know you're all wondering, what is new with Bumble Bear Farms? So today, just bringing it back to home and what's been going on with our little business. Today we went to an event at Springvale Community Gardens, which is one of the places where we have some hives, and we've had a long-standing relationship with the community garden. It's an amazing initiative. It's a little gem in Springvale. And shout out to Gloria and Rod for all you do for the community garden. You guys are amazing. And we basically had a little sausage sizzle and a raffle today, and just kind of got everyone together who's involved. And they had they were giving away plants and fertilizer, and there was a raffle, and it was just nice.
Well, the original itinerary was that you and I would be available to, give a informal presentation of, backyard or rooftop beekeeping at home.
Yeah, but that just kind of... Well, we ended up talking one-on-one with quite a few people about beekeeping.
Because it was 38 degrees and it would have been torture to actually stand out.
So we just ended up kind of chatting one-on-one with a couple of different people, and it was very lovely. And then there was a guest of honor today. Jane Edmondson from Gardening Australia turned up. She has visited Springvale Community Gardens a couple of times, and she was absolutely lovely. She led the raffle, and we actually got a chance to give her some of our products. We gave her a jar of honey and a candle and a body scrub. And yeah, we got a photo with her. She was really receptive.
She's so sweet.
Yeah, she was super sweet. She said she's excited to try our honey, and that was kind of a big highlight in our, I guess, careers. Because how often do you get to rub shoulders with gardening royalty of Australia?
She's it was great to have her around, and also it's a testament to Gloria and Rod for maintaining such a successful community garden that gardening royalty like Jane would like to swing by, and it's also great that we're able to share our craft with someone who was like super sweet and super nice.
Yeah, and if you get a chance, if you do live in Melbourne area or eastern suburbs at all, check out the Springvale Community Garden. It's amazing. It's such a great little initiative. They have so many good things going for them, and so many people contributing to keeping the place going. And we're just really happy that we get to be a part of it.
There were some absolute characters,
Yeah.
but there is definitely some very colourful personalities, which also make the community gardens an exceptional place. Having a bit of a chinwag.
Yeah, we had a chinwag, we had a little sausage sizzle, and it was beautiful. It was a great day.
That's basically a wrap up in. This obviously isn't an exhaustive list of bee news around the world, but that's basically things which have captivated us in recent times, and it's now not long until the wrap up of the season, and we'll just try and furiously do our final hive checks and pack downs before the end.
Good to be done with this hot summer, that's for sure.
I think the bees are over the hot summer as well.
Yeah, they need a rest. So wherever you guys are in the world, you can be a steward of the bees by being kind to bees.
Is that really your sign off now?
Yes! Deal with it.
We'll have a new podcast for you next week, hopefully in a more timely manner.
Yeah, we've got some research underway, and we will see you guys next week, and thank you for listening.
Bye-bye.